Hello and welcome to my little corner of the internet where I draw fantasy maps and talk about world building. Today I'm going to continue to draw the Oxgate map that I have been working on for quite some time. I will also show you some wintry footage from my recent visit to Sweden and talk about how climate can affect your world building. I will start by painting a layer of burnt umber on the fantasy map, where I have drawn mountains and hills using a dip pen and black ink. I am using a rather watered down paint because I will build the painting layer by layer. Since I have been away for a while, my cat Sally is especially clingy and she rarely leaves my side. With watercolors, you paint from light to dark and gradually build up the painting, which I find very satisfying. To make the transitions between the mountain region and the grassy area, I use clear water to reactivate the colors again and remove any excess paint. I then add in a little more green using the wet on wet technique and let the color naturally blend. It is okay if the transition isn't perfect, but what I want to avoid is a sharp line. However, I will leave some of the so-called tide lines marks. I don't want my map to be perfect and smooth, and I think it adds a little bit of interest. During my recent visit to Sweden, where I spent a whole weekend in a small cabin playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friends, the first snow came. Autumn is truly gone and winter is here. I love autumn, but winter has its own magical appeal. Our campaign world is heavily influenced by the Scandinavian nature and folklore, and the winters are long and dark. During the winter in Eastern Farraway, towns and villages, especially those located in the mountains, will become cut off during the winter since the roads are closed. From a world-building perspective, this means that a lot of trade needs to be done before the first snow arrives. Therefore, fairs and harvest festivals play an important role, where people gather and stock up with provisions for the coming winter. However, the long, dark, wintry days also mean plenty of quiet time indoors, which is perfect for crafting and preparing items which can be sold during the first spring market. I have also promised that I will talk a little bit about Southern Farraway. As I've mentioned before, our campaign world is more than 25 years old, and we spend the majority of our time playing in Northern, Western and, currently, Eastern Farraway. Southern Farraway was once part of the Farraway Empire, but it became its own kingdom when the old empire was destroyed after the First Winter War. It is located somewhere south of Western and Eastern Farraway. The only time our Dungeons & Dragons group has been there was when we stepped through a portal and searched for a set of clues that could help my character, Nora J., a warlock, to regain her soul. She accidentally lost her soul during a game of cards one late night in Winterhold, but that is a whole different story. One of our keen readers previously sent me a map of his campaign world, where he had incorporated the different regions of Farway into his fantasy world. On the map, he had placed Southern Farraway south of Western and Eastern Farraway across a strait between the ocean and a larger bay. I really like this idea, and if I ever make a larger map of the entire region, I will probably steal his idea. It makes sense. That's why we don't know that much about Southern Farraway. And that also means that there is plenty to explore. If you are creating a fantasy world for your role-playing games or books, it might be a good idea to think about how climate and different regions will affect the people in their every day-to-day life. Other aspects, such as how technologically advanced your society is and how common magic is, will also play an important role, but I like to start by establishing the foundations first and build from there. This is how far I came today during today's painting session. My previous ink smudge accident that I have been worried about so much isn't actually that apparent now when I've painted the map. But I will still add that there has been a wildfire in the region in the book because I really like the idea. I still haven't figured out which color I will use for the border, so if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below. I always read all of them. Next week I will continue painting the fantasy map of the Oxgate region, and I will start working on the map decorations in the corners. I hope to see you then, and until then, have a wonderful and creative day.